Hi, Rod. Welcome to Better with Age. Good to see you. I know there are a great many diamonds who are very grateful for your support on their fitness journeys. So good to see you. How about we start with you telling us a bit about the diamonds, how many there are, where they are, what's the reason for creating it, meters road, that kind of thing.
Sure, yeah, it could be a very long story because it's a very big team. So I'll try and keep it as brief as I can. The Diamonds is the biggest online indoor rowing team, stroke club, whichever terminology you want to use, uh, in the whole of the Concept 2 rowing community. We It started back in around about 16. Some people put together a team in the UK to attack the world 100k team record for over 60s. And the way it was done was two people did a tandem 100k, male female. So he changed over after every 500 metres, and then they said maybe we could expand it to doing a team. And they contacted people on the Concept 2 rankings in the UK to see if they could all get together in one place. People were interested. They got together in a venue in Cornwall and they did the relay, and they had a wonderful time. And they then repeated it the following year. And the following year, I had turned 60. So I was one of the people that was invited to go along. So there we were in, I think, Penryn in Cornwall, in a hotel, in a room, a rowing machine, and about 20 odd people, all taking it in turns to break the 100k record. And it worked a treat. We set a world record, got a nice, lovely certificate, and had a very nice meal and drink together in the evening. And the idea of expanding the team to wider boundaries, to getting more people involved, was put across. And it was originally just a Facebook group so that the people within the team could communicate with each other for the details of getting together for that 100k relay. So there we are, 2017, about 20 people, a Facebook group in Cornwall doing the record. I'd actually run a Facebook group before with indoor rowing, so I had a little bit of experience of it, and was asked to help out with expanding the team. And really and truly, once it went onto Facebook and once we started talking about it in the open community, people that aged over 60 all started to join, and it just grew from there. And I added a description to the team, over 60s Erging group, to describe what it was, because we were getting applications from people that thought we were selling jewellery or something like that. So, but it also indicated to people that saw the open Facebook groups that we were an over 60s team, an age group team. So it advertised the team, and on it's now grown to 3,000, around 3,000 members in 45 different countries. So my stats man tells me that's not information that I'm able to glean. I don't have the IT skills, but more of that later. So it's become huge because we also, after setting it up on the Facebook group, or I say it wasn't me that set it up on the Facebook group, but once the Facebook group was up and running, we also set it up on the Concept 2 site, which is where meters are counted, and Concept 2 run competitions for the number of meters that teams can do in a season. And since then, that side of it has got the most people, because there's about 3,000 people on there, of which about 500 are also on the Facebook group, and of about 2,000 are also on our chat forum. So that's really where we get the numbers from.
Wow. Okay. And why the diamonds? Where's that come from?
Well, diamond a diamond wedding anniversary is your 60th.
Oh, okay.
So if you've been blessed to have been married for 60 years, then you can celebrate your diamond wedding anniversary. And so the name Diamonds was given because we were all over 60s. The official entry age is that you turn 59 in the season that you join us, because at 59 you are in your 60th year. So
Okay.
that's really the technical side of it. But yeah, diamonds. I mean, I also like to think that we're a hard bunch of rowers, and diamonds are hard. But that wasn't the actual original thought behind it. But it is the kind of thought that I apply to it quite often.
Is there a typical diamond?
The diamonds range in age from 58, because if someone's going to turn 59 before the end of the season, then they may only actually be 58, but they turn 59, like the current season ends on the 31st of April. So they may be as young as 58. They may be male or female. They may be as old as some of our older members. We've got two people over 100. Our oldest member, I remember seeing the number on there on the C2 part of the team, was 104.
Right.
But realistically, we've got lots of people in their 80s, 90s, and so on. So it's hard to say that there's a typical diamond, but there is one thing that binds us all, and that's we're all interested in making progress.
Yeah.
A typical diamond, if I can put it that way, is someone that's interested in progressing in their indoor rowing and general fitness. It's a kind of a way of enjoying the sport and being a better rower, bike erger, ski erger, or associated things like running, weights, and so on. It's about being better today than you were yesterday, and hopefully being a bit better tomorrow than you are today. And that's a fairly typical attitude that we all have. It's what's promoted, it's what's helped, it's assisted, and that's really one of the main things that binds us together. So that's
And can you give us some examples of some of the outstanding characters in the Diamond?
Yeah. There's 3,000 outstanding characters because I have the absolute pleasure of interacting with people in the team every day, and it never ceases to amaze me the kind of stories that we have. We have one guy immediately springs to mind who he's in his 90s now. He was a US Marine in Vietnam, and you think what he must have been through, and we support all our former military veterans, all fire, police, ambulance, medical people. So many people have got so many backgrounds in those areas that it's amazing the kind of little stories that people can come out with. But in terms of the characters, I mean, Bob Winstanley on the Facebook page is almost like the Minister of Fun, because he does terrific rows every day, clocks up great meters, and then there's videos of him down the pub. He likes to celebrate his success, and he puts videos of him partying with all the people at his social club, and the feel-good factor that you get from the fact that he trains hard and he plays hard, and it makes everybody feel warm, and he's a fantastic, amazing character. But the IT people that help us to run an organisation as large as this, because people say, well, how do you run a team that big? Well, the simple answer is I don't. We've got 3 IT people that do it, and they make my job so easy. I mean, there's Peter Coles, who's got a huge background in IT, running his own businesses. He works together with Martin Walmsley and Ian Chapman, who was very high ranking in IT in Shell in the UK. They work together to produce spreadsheets where systems are automated, where all of our competition results go on automatically. I don't have to chase around them. I can just see who's done what, or can also see who hasn't done things, which means that I get the opportunity to ask people how they are, because it's very easy to tie up with what you asked earlier about typical rowers. I mean, it is also typical to be able to fall out of sync with it if there are injuries, or heaven forbid at our age, and that is to say over 60s, there are health issues. So it enables us almost like a family to be able to contact people and say, haven't seen you for a while, how are you? And that's where we can have conversations with people about how health issues or things are perhaps affecting their ability to row regularly. And we can offer help and support, put them in touch with other people who have had similar problems, and just let them know that we care. So the idea is that although you may be rowing alone on a C2 or ski erging or bike erg, I do stress we're a team for all ergs. They're never really alone, because it's not far to be online away to other people. I mean, we've got people like Steve Bainbridge, who's a former England rugby union international and played for the British Lions. For those in other countries that don't know the rugby setup, he's a very famous international rugby player. He's now with the Diamonds. Penelope Vincent-Sweet rowed for Britain in the 1980 Moscow Olympics. So we've got people with Olympic backgrounds. Kurt Blumberg owns his own gold mine in the Klondike. I say the Klondike, it's Alaska. and he's 79 years old. He does amazing lightweight times. He's virtually hewn from the rock that he works on every day. It's an amazing story. Bill Nurge holds just about every record in the book. He was one shot away from being in the US Olympic modern pentathlon, biathlon team. He was an international standard skier, international standard triathlete. He's now turned to rowing. He coaches. He's got world records for holding the number of world records. Jim Turner's just won the world championships. He's in his 80s. Nancy Cook has just been smashing all the US records and chasing world records, world champion 2K, always supports the team, a fantastic character. Ray Morvan is one of the top para-Olympians. He's unfortunately had a below-the-knee leg amputation, so he rows with one leg and a prosthetic. He's one of the most enthusiastic people that we have. He improves every time because he's ferociously keen about his training. And you wouldn't think that there'd be any kind of physical problem with him. We've got some rowers that are blind. We've got people with all kinds of physical disabilities that row in what's called the adaptive categories, which is where people have allowances for their physical, if I can say, disability challenges. Judy Dunner's got Parkinson's, and yet she's recently broken any number of American records. I have the great pleasure of she's one of the managers of the team. I have great pleasure of chatting to her. I'm no expert on how you exhibit Parkinson's, but I can't see any. But she has Parkinson's. We have people that do huge numbers of meters as well on the meter counting side. Robert Mayhew is over 23.5 million meters for the season already. Andrew Kendall is on 20 million meters, and Howard Tisdall, who was our top meter contributor last year. I mean, he rows, but they all bike, ride, ski, and row phenomenal numbers. It just goes on and on and on. I mean, hopefully people in the team are going to see this and see that I've name checked them. But I could be name checking all day. These are just ones that really spring to mind. So.
Yeah, I can vouch for how supportive the group is. Rod, tell us a little bit about the monthly routines, because there are competitions every month.
Yeah, the Concept 2 World has a lot of competitions, and it's the main one that we focus on in the Facebook part of the Diamonds is what's called the Cross Team Challenge. And that is really, it's called Cross Team Challenge because it's across all the teams. And it's a monthly competition where all the teams take it in turns to set a challenge. And then there's a league table for the scores that you put in for the team. And we traditionally put more entries in than any other team because we are more, I mean, obviously, yes, there are more of us, but our percentage of people that do that every month is higher than any other club because we have our own internal competition where your score in that competition is then runs through an algorithm where it's adjusted by gender, age and weight for our own internal league table. So we can have a 59-year-old heavyweight man matched with a 91-year-old lightweight lady because she's got a better adjustment than he has. So it enables everybody to compete on a level playing field. And that binds everybody together. It's the thing we all talk about the most. It's the thing we all have conversations about. How can we improve in certain areas? What kind of techniques can we employ to go faster towards the end of the month than we were at the start when we were trying it out? It gives everyone a focus. It gives everybody something to talk about. And it's a bit like all being members of a sports team where we all compete for that team every month. So once you've done your competition, it's nice to be able to talk to your teammates about it. The other main competition that we do is the meter counting competition on the C2 site, and we set a world record for number of meters by a team in a season last year, which if you use the 1,000 meters is a billion, then we did 2,617,000,000 last season, and we're almost about to beat it with about 6 weeks to go. So that we're clocking up about at least 50 million meters a week on that. So
Let's talk a little bit about your sporting background. What are your rowing achievements? Because I know you just had a good competition fairly recently, but tell us a little bit about you and rowing.
Well, I started off as a I can only describe a back marker. Very briefly, my wife and I moved house. There was a gym near the new house. It had rowing machines. We started rowing. First time we got there, we sat on them, and my wife said, my wife Carol Woodward, that is. I mean, she doesn't use my surname, but she's known in rowing circles as Carol Woodward, and she's been very successful. We sat on the two rowing machines and had a race because she said she'd been on them before. I'd never been on one before, so we had a race and she beat me. So that wasn't a very good start. But we found out about the indoor rowing community online. We went along to the British Championships. My wife, she won. And I was just about, I think I was 20th out of 21 in the 45 to 49 heavyweight 2K. Nearly fell off my machine at the end, and didn't think this was really the sport for me. I didn't think I was really going to be doing too well at it. But I stuck at it, mainly because we were going down the gym regularly and Carol was enjoying what she was doing. By then she was starting to break British records and she was lining up to win the British Championships yet again. But I found that if I adjusted my diet a little bit, stopped drinking quite so socially, so I managed to get my weight down by, I didn't really need to lose a lot, but I managed to get into the lightweight category, which is under 11 stone 11 in old British language, under 75 kilos in more universal, or under 165 pounds in US language. But once I got under lightweight, I started to take it more seriously. Started to row more meters and started to work with a coach. And when I got into my mid-50s, I started to finish higher up the races and started to earn a few medals, no golds, unfortunately. But once I got to 60 and became the youngest in the 60 to 64 age category, or 60-69 as it was then the coach that I was working with, Eddie Fletcher, one of the great coaches of in many sports. He works with professional rugby teams, football teams. He's also he coached James Cracknell, of the famous gold medal winner to a British marathon record for his age group on the rowing machines. Coached lots and lots of incredible people. Graham Benton, one of the greatest all-time indoor rowers, he's coached him. So I managed to get him to take an interest in little old me, and from 60 I then started to win British Championship, set British records, and 3 times been to the World Championships. Never won gold at the World Championships, but I've come away with 3 silver each time, and I've managed to top the world rankings for some events for some seasons. So because I've tended to maybe do better at the longer distances than the 2,000 metres. Although, strangely enough, this season I've actually topped the rankings for the sprint distances, for the 500 metres and the 100 metres, because I'd never really tried those before. So, going into my later 60s now, I've managed to set some British records for 65, 69 lightweight. And I won the British Championships for 500 metres back in December, so just recently. So with that behind me and a 3-week holiday just coming up, I'm now taking a slight move back to just kind of hold fitness. And then when I get back from my holiday, I'll then be attacking some of the longer British records. Particularly, I'm thinking about the marathon. So there's plenty to come, and there's plenty already gone. But it's all really been down to the help from the coaching input, the motivation, and the help of others in the Diamonds, and really just the knowledge that as I'm getting older, then I need to progress my training and adjust my sights as to what I'm doing. But isn't it lovely to have those targets and still be doing it at our age? I mean, I'm older than you, but at 67, it's wonderful to still be able to have the opportunity to think this way.
Yeah, it is, and just we'll come back to that. But just before rowing, Rod, I mean, you and I will probably have played rugby against each other, I think. But you were also involved in athletics as well.
Oh yeah, in a nutshell, from my early teens, really, right through to 40, I was a rugby player in the winter, where I'm sure must have come across you on the pitch. And given the age difference, you were probably that guy that scarpered across the field and knocked me flying.
So
But
only 3 years in it, Rod.
well, that's 3 years is a lot at my age. I tell you, I was fading fast. From my early teens up to 40, I was a runner with the athletic club in the summer months, doing in my younger years the sprint distances, and a rugby player in the winter. In my early years, I was mainly a runner, 400-metre runner, and I was kind of like kept in the shadows a bit by a chap by the name of Steve Ovett, who later went on to win Olympic gold. So it was good fun chasing him and his times, although he was 2 years older than me, because he only lived half an hour down the road from me. I lived in a town called Crawley, which was just southeast of London, and he lived in a town called Brighton, which was half an hour down from there. But I got to the elevated stage of being the fastest for my age in Sussex until a guy from London moved down, and he swept the board, and his name was Frank Thompson, better known in later years as Daley Thompson, who also went on to win Olympic gold medal and be quite a character. So those were the kind of people that were around in my early running years. Once I got to my later teens, I carried on with it. But between 20 and 40, it was mainly just club athletics and club rugby. And
Yeah, well, they're good company to be in, those personalities. But you mentioned coaching before, and are you still being coached? Did you recommend being coached as an older athlete?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, I work with Eddie from time to time, and then I'll be working with him again, I'm sure, as I go for my marathon in a few months' time. Eddie is a heart rate specialist, physiology specialist. He knows he knows how to set a program that's progressive. I think coaching is really important. It's not always, you don't necessarily need to go for a top qualified professional coach, although that is a very good idea if you're going for something like a British record or want to do well in championships. But I think it's important when you're new into the sport, because with the Diamonds people are coming into the sport all the time, and one of the things about the Diamonds is we're not just about world champions, world records. We have a strong teaching element where we encourage people how to do the basics of the sport. So it is very, very important as an older athlete to get the help and advice of other more experienced people. So effectively, they look for someone within the team to help coach you through your early days. I do a lot of coaching for a lot of new people. I've got a lot of information and templates that I put through to them just on the basics of doing it. So yeah, I would say coaching is absolutely really essential for the older athlete. And then as you want to progress, then you can look at coaches that can take you further on. In fact, you can take coaching qualifications, or by dint of your own experience, become a coach yourself. I mean, to a lot of what I do, I'm self-coached. But if I want to get really serious about certain things, then I'll employ the talents of people who are far more qualified at coaching than I am.
Yeah, I agree. And Rob, big question: is training and competing still fun, or is it just discipline?
Well, it's both. The discipline is the fun. If it was easy, you wouldn't get the sense of reward. But some of it is easy because you can't go flat out all the time. So it's a question of balance. I know people that have gone completely bonkers and trained like lunatics day in, day out, and quite understandably they've burnt out and said, "Oh, I can't do this anymore." And one of the things I've helped some people with is to actually slow down to get faster, to look at it over a more long-term basis. But I find that the competing and training to compete is what holds me together. It holds my interest. I'm the same with my running. When I'm training with my running, it's with a view to how I'm going to perform in 10k road races, half marathon road races, 5k road races. All those are important. I adjust my targets because at the age of 67, coming up for 68, I know that I'm not going to be heading for, say, a sub 20-minute 5k road race like I would have done when I was in my 50s. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to allow myself to get any further away from it than I can possibly help. and it's all relative to what other people of my age are doing as well. So yeah.
Yeah. So a key point there is how do you manage rest and recovery? Because I've found that very difficult. As a younger person, I would just push myself and feel guilty if I didn't. But I've learnt the hard way that you've got to build good quality rest and recovery into your routine somehow. Otherwise, you just reach a plateau.
I made the same mistake, Steph. I'm one of the people that I'm referring to. I think the fact that we age and need rest more than younger actually makes us think more about how important rest is. And younger people could do with thinking about it too. But the motivation you get as an older athlete, you're 100% correct. We need to build in the rest and recovery because our bodies actually are adapting and growing while we're resting, not while we're training. And it seems a simple thing, but it's been a hard one to put across. Well, it was to me when I was younger. The thing that I think really helps is looking at heart rate. In indoor rowing, because you've got the screen in front of you on the Concept 2, or if you're if you're skiing or if you're on the bike when you're erging, you can see your heart rate on there. So I wear a chest strap and look at my heart rate. And ideally, if you're keeping around about 80% of your training needs to be roughly just below 70% of your maximum heart rate. If you do that, then you're going to put fantastic fitness and aerobic development into the body without wearing it out, without burning yourself out. It's actually having it in black and white in front of you what you should and shouldn't do. So don't go that side of the line because you're training too hard, which means you'll burn out. You're using muscle fuel as instead of body fat fuel to be touch on some of the technical sides of it. And the idea is to make the body more efficient at getting oxygen across it, burning fat for fuel and giving you that extra gear. It's called the aerobic base. And that lots and lots and lots of meters, lots and lots and lots of miles if you're running. And then you really only need to do 2 harder sessions a week. And even then, they don't need to be flat out. And if you're trying to peak for a performance, then you can shorten the sessions and just peak for that one performance. So you wouldn't really want to be hitting maximum heart rate more than once a week, once a fortnight, something like that.
Okay.
Those are the technical sides. If no heart rate is available, it's just a question of take it easy for 80% of the time. Maybe have a blast once or twice a week. Simple.
That's the physical side. Do you do any mental preparation before a challenge?
Yeah, the mental side is convincing yourself you can do it, because if it's a challenge, then you do know that it's going to be a physical and mental struggle. So I gear the training sessions that I do. Again, let's just look at my... in the old days, I would do track sessions that were geared to the kind of pace that I wanted to hit in my 400-metre races. I mean, like 200-metre repetitions. If I could do them in sub 26 seconds, then I knew that I'd be heading for sub 54 seconds for my 400 metres. It's the same with rowing. If I've got a 2,000-metre race coming up, then I would try and make sure that I'm hitting my 500-metre reps under a certain pace, so that I know that I can be comfortable. I mean, comfortably whilst being in pain is. I can be confident that I can hold a certain pace through that race, because you don't actually go flat out until right at the very end. It's like you see people in the Olympics where the 10,000 metres they don't exactly jog around the track, they're moving pretty quick, but there's always the final sprint at the end where you're using up anything that you've got left, and that's only really at the end. You need the confidence of the speed that you've done in training to be replicated in a race, and if you've got that, then your mental approach is totally positive. There's nothing worse than going too fast, too soon, being unprepared, because then your brain says, I can't hold this, and you give up before the body is really ready to give up. It's joining your brain, the positivity of your brain with your training. So get your training right as you prepare for the races. It would be my advice.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've found visualization. As you know, I'm a hypnotherapist now, so
Yeah.
I found visualization very important. It just seems to help you normalize where you're at when you're training if you've gone through it already in your head before and got used to it.
Familiarity.
Yeah,
Familiarity.
something like that. And so, what makes you keep doing it, Rod? Why? What's the motivation?
Well, the feeling of fitness is nice.
Yeah,
I've always enjoyed the feeling of being in good shape is a way to describe it. But there always seem to be things to go for. There always seems to be reasons to want to go out and train. Like I'm forever thinking I can go a bit faster at this, or I can go a bit faster than that. I mean, like I think I can do a British record for the marathon. Well, I'm keen to try and do a British record for the marathon on the rowing machine, and so I need to train for it. So I'm keen. I'm going out thinking, can I be better today than I was last week in my marathon pacing? I want to run faster 10Ks, so I'm thinking, well, if I can be faster on this time trial this week, can it set me in a good place? But the other thing is, I keep thinking, if I clock up enough meters on the rowing machine, and I see that my heart rate stays at 70%, but my pace increases, or like reduce, if I go faster, that is the most motivational thing. Those numbers on the monitor of an erg are such motivating things, because I'm thinking, hey, my heart rate didn't go any higher this week, but I went that much faster, so I'm getting fitter. That's really, it's just a progressive thing. It's just something to be enjoying working at, and it doesn't have to be something that drives you mad. Plus, it's something to talk about with other people. I talk rowing a lot because video meetings with other rowers, ergers, runners is great fun. So it's a way of life. It's just a way of enjoying what I can while I can do it. So I hope that answers the question. But
yeah, it does. It does. Well, I'm sure you'll get to that marathon record, Rod. So we're coming to the end. How do people find you?
oh right, well I try to make the club, the team, the Diamonds. We've got our own kit. There we go. I wore this especially for the interview. The we have T-shirts with it on and different colours and all sorts of things. So it's we're a Facebook group. You can look on Facebook, the Diamonds Over 60s Erging Group. You could just Google us, the Diamonds Over 60s Erging Group. You can look for us on the Concept 2 website. Just go into the search, the Diamonds Over, and so on and so forth. Or you could even Google my name, and that comes up as associated with the Diamonds. And it shouldn't be hard to find. We also, if people use the Concept 2 rankings, they can see that we have members on those rankings because the name of your team is next to your name. So you can send a message to any of those people, or you can find me on the rankings. So hopefully we're as visible as possible.
And anybody can join as long as they've in the age category and they can get access to a machine. And you don't have to have a machine. You can use one in a public gym or friend's house or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, as long as you've got access to a C2 erg in some way, because we're a C2 only using team, and as long as you're 59 or over, currently it's by the 31st of April, and then it'll be 59 or over by the 31st of April the following year. So yeah, I mean, roughly speaking, if you're 59 and you want to row, or you do row, give us a shout. We'd love to help you along. Love to have you in the team. Anyone can join. There's no maximum size. So we're 3,000 odd at the moment. I'm sure this time next year it'll be 3,000 and a few hundred, and so on and so forth.
Great. Thank you very much, Rod. Always good to see you. Have a good holiday.
Thanks, Steph. Good to talk to you, mate. All the best. Bye-bye.